I don't know about you, but 2024 feels kind of slow moving. The energy is more gentle and reflective, while 2025 in comparison seems like it's going to be quite wild. Last month, I noticed a shift in terms of collective energy. It feels like we are stepping into a new chapter, a new era. More people are waking up and healing. More people are called to share their spiritual experiences on platforms like YouTube and other social media. It's hard to say exactly what will happen this year, but in this video, I just want to explore three major themes that I sense energetically and discuss how we can prepare for these upcoming changes. So, the first major theme I want to talk about is speed. When I tap into my intuition, 2025 feels like it's going to be moving at a lightning speed. Everything is going to accelerate so much faster than before. And one of the reason is because of AI. And I'm sure most of you has heard of AI, right? Well, 2025 feels like the year that AI is going to really make its mark on this planet. Whether you use AI or not, it's going to impact you in a bigger way than before. As a writer, I can already see the shift in my own workflow. For example, it used to take me a week to write my blog post, but now I just take one day, sometimes even just one morning. It's kind of wild when I think about it. Just 2 years ago, things weren't even like this. Now I can just jot down some ideas in bullet points and let the AI help me turn them into sentences. I don't have to stress about the grammar, the spelling, or the sentence structure anymore. AI does the work for me. I just need to focus on the essence of what I wish to share. And these tools like the Chat GPT and Jasper, our Mid Journey, has been around for a while, but it wasn't until recently that I have this clarity on how to use them more effectively. At the end of 2024, something just clicked for me. Like I feel this huge surge of energy and inspiration, and I just follow the flow and tap into the flow. And just last month alone, I rewrote 29 blog posts with the help of AI. So what does this mean for those of you who aren't content creator like me? It means that there will be so much more content out there to choose from. The barrier of entry to content creation are so low now. Anyone can create content like a blog post, a video with ease. And if you're not grounded or intentional about what you're consuming, it's very easy to get swept away by this tornado of information and content. And the problem is, even though the content is being created faster and there are way more of it now, that doesn't mean that we can consume it any faster. As human, we can only truly focus on one thing at a time. It's more important than ever now to be mindful of what you choose to consume. If you're not careful, it's very easy for us to be overwhelmed by all these options, losing touch with what really matters to us. Our minds will go into a restless state of constant consumption, disconnecting us from our true self, our inner being. So the key for 2025 is to be intentional and discerning what content truly resonate with us. And the same applies to creators too. With all these AI tools, I can now create more blog posts on all kinds of topics, but it actually pushes me to narrow my focus and be more intentional and focus on what I truly want to create. When it's so easy to create, there's always this temptation to overdo it, to overproduce, to overwork, and that can leave you totally drained. So we must pause and ask ourselves, what truly aligns with my heart? What is my soul guiding me to express? And then create those contents that truly resonate and represent your values. The more freedom we have, the more we have to really tune into our hearts and soul to figure out what we really want. Otherwise, we'll just end up following whatever's out there, feeling more lost than ever. And even if you're not on social media, you may have noticed that When you search on platforms like Google, the first thing you see now is often AI generated response. You no longer need to read a full blog post to find a quick answer. But with that comes its own set of challenges. You're constantly receiving answer and information, reacting to them, and taking action. This keeps you in a reactive state. There's little time to pause, to discern, and to reflect on whether the information is even accurate. If you're not mindful enough, it's easy to be swept away and fall into this endless rabbit hole of questions and answers. I don't know if you have tried having a conversation with AI. It's kind of addictive. Like every question you ask is answered so quickly that you keep asking more and more. But doing so, you get more caught up in your head, relying on AI to help you make decisions instead of reflecting within yourself. But there are some questions AI just can't answer, like what you truly love or what you want to experience. AI can give you a suggestion, sure, but you still need to tune into yourself to find answer that really fulfills you. And this acceleration isn't just about AI or technology. It's a reflection of the speed at which our world is evolving, which brings me to my second major theme for 2025, which is destruction. First of all, destruction is not a bad thing. It's not something to be afraid of. It's actually part of a natural cycle. Like everything else, life moves in waves and cycle, bring change and renewal. Just like when you think about how a caterpillar morph into a butterfly, or the four seasons that we experience in some of the countries, every generation has its own energy and perspective. And with that, the old way of doing things, the old system, are going to fall apart and be replaced by these new ones. That's how progress and expansion works. And in 2025, it feels like the momentum of the new energy is going to overtake the old energy. A huge change is coming because we are getting more of this new energy from the new generation. They have a very different kind of vibe compared to the older generation. And like it or not, the change is inevitable, whether it will be in 2025 or 2026 or beyond. I can sense a huge transformation coming to our humanity. It's not only AI that is reshaping the way we work. As our collective consciousness rises, outdated habits and systems that are no longer serving us will be left behind. This transformation doesn't just apply to our jobs, but also to other areas like our relationship and lifestyle. The thing is, some people will hold on very tightly to the old ways of doing things, trying to maintain the status quo. They are very attached to the past, while others embrace the new. And this may create a clash between the two energy, the old and the new energy. And this clash can create tension and conflict. This resistance to change often comes from our ego. Our ego clings tightly to the familiar and interprets disruption as something negative, like a kind of suffering or loss. But if we look deeper and look at the big picture, we will see that every change is actually an invitation to grow beyond our limiting beliefs. Such changes are just the world way of renewing itself and transforming into something better. Destruction is not here to cause suffering. It's here to destroy what's not serving us anymore so that we can rebuild something that serves us better. What causes suffering is not the disruption, but our attachment to the old ways and our resistance to change. When we cling on to the past and refuse to let go, we suffer more. But when we are able to let go and go with the flow, things feels easier and more effortless. This element of disruption, coupled with the element of speed, means we have to let go much faster than before. What works now might not work or be as effective 3 months down the road. So it's difficult to plan too far ahead. There might be a lot of instability for the next 1 or 2 years as we are currently in the initial phase of transformation and the world is reinventing itself. But the stability will eventually come as everything settles again. Now it's more about letting go and following the new energy. Another thing to note is that this destruction is not destroying for the sake of destroying. Sometimes this external system that kept us trapped for so long is useful in the past, but right now in the current era, it's not as useful anymore. So they have to be destroyed from the ground up because the foundation, the core, isn't serving us in the first place. If you just fine tune the system a little bit here and there, it's not going to work. It's not going to bring much transformation. So this system has to be torn apart completely, redesigned, and put back together. It's just like how spiritual awakening tears our sense of self apart and put us back together with a new profound perspective. The third theme that I wanted to discuss is completion. 2025 is a numerology 9 year. So if you reduce the number 2025 to a single digit by adding 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals to 9, the number 9 symbolizes ending, completion, and the closing of cycles. We are coming to the end of a significant cycle, which is often a time for reflection, letting go, and preparing for new beginnings. Completion is a nicer word for destruction. It's the same in the sense that it's also about clearing away what's no longer serving you to make space for growth and transformation. However, completion is more intentional. You choose to let go of belief and habits or systems that no longer serve you, rather than waiting until circumstances force you to release them. That is more like destruction. 2025 is the perfect time to reflect on the past, acknowledge what has served its purpose, and close old chapters of your life. For example, I recently went back reviewing my blog posts as far back from 2014 and decided to remove a lot of outdated content. These blog posts represented who I was in the past, but they don't represent who I am now or going forward. When I read some of my old blog posts, I realize I have new insights and perspective on these past events. It was a deliberate act of letting go to make room for better and more relevant ideas in the future. You want to tie all your loose ends, especially in your relationship. Like if you have anyone who you're still holding grudges against, it's time to forgive them or let it go and just move on. You don't want to carry this energy to the new cycle. This could also mean letting go of relationships that no longer align with your growth or bring closure to the relationships that are holding you back. Last month in December, I dedicated one entire day to be alone, reviewing my life with intention and mapping out how I wanted to approach the coming year. And during the reflection, one word stood out to me very clearly, and the word is optimize. Optimize is a word that I use to help me ground my mind, and the word for my heart is actually completion or closure. Optimize is going to be my guiding principle for how I plan to move forward in 2025, focusing on refining all areas of my life and closing all chapters that weren't serving me anymore. If you haven't done something like this or taken the time to reflect on your life, now is the time to do some kind of life audit. Taking even a few hours to sit quietly, reflecting on what's working and what isn't, and setting intention can be incredibly powerful. You might find clarity and direction for how to approach the next phase of your journey and also to embrace the transformation in 2025. Sometimes completion also means that your life in a certain area is over. It's time to move to another place. If you feel drawn to a specific place in this new year, watch this next video over here.